Hey, how's it going? It's time to do the rear shocks on the E46 or the E36 right now. But tools we're going to be using today: jack. Gonna need one jack stand. I'm just going to do one side at a time. Just keep it easy. Socket set, magnetic pan just to keep track of loose nuts and bolts. A small torque wrench, obviously. The rear shocks. And might use a few more things here and there, but this is pretty much what I'm going to be using the whole time. And so what I've done with this car is it has a H&R Cup kit that I managed to score a pretty good deal on about a year ago. I'm going to get a light so you can see it. And yeah, you can see that purple spring in there. And I got the front hooked up with it too. It sits real nice and low. You know, has that nice look to it. But you know, I've never bothered putting in these back shocks because the rear ones were already good, and I was just glad to get this done by myself. It was challenging. All right, the next step in this process, got to take out this trunk stuff. All right, so what you want to do is take a flathead screwdriver or a puller or something like that, plastic tool. And on both these sides, there's these little pop rivets. Pop those out. I've already taken out that one side. Put it in a place where you're not going to lose it. One good place is down here in the bucket or just in the tray if you don't have too much stuff in it. And now would be a good time to clean up around here. I've already done it a long time ago, but there's a lot of dead bugs and dirt and whatnot. And it's also a good time to check your spare and put air in it. You can put like 35 40 psi in it, so just in case you got to use a spare, it's not flat, because that's pretty common. Make sure everything's there. And next we'll take out these side trims. It's pretty easy. We're gonna pop that center piece, that little center piece of black plastic out. It's real easy. And then you take the sides out, and then you can take the rear out, and it'll expose the shock mounts. And so you can see the shut towers there and the sound deadening insulation. Me and before I even took ownership of it and did this, it was already ripped open. Someone's been here before, so you're gonna have to rip it open. And so you can see those shock mounts. Alright, the 13mm nuts have been loosened and taken out on each side, and I also removed my Garagistic reinforcement plates, which are good. I don't know what difference they make, but I'm sure they're good because a race car, And I'll go and jack up that side right there, and we'll remove the bottom bolt holding on the shock. I'm gonna jack from not on the differential, but there's on the subframe carrier, there's a little flat spot meant for a jack. Go there, and we'll lift up the whole thing and put jack stands under each corresponding side's little place for them. Just make sure your jack stands are secure and in a good spot, where it's not going to fall on you. Safety is so important when under jack stands. Shake the car. It's not going anywhere. So, next part, I'm getting on my creeper. Make it easier on myself. Get those bottom bolts undone. And they've already pulled out from the top, as you can see, that daylight peeking through. And see y'all in a sec. Alright, so you can use your 19mm socket and a breaker bar. I just had to use a cheater bar, really. I need to invest in some half-inch sockets for my breaker bar, because I just broke a 3/8 adapter. But, it did the job. Just going to take it out, and we're going to do this on both sides and drop out the shocks. Alright, both sides are out, and so you see, you got this top nut. I've already brapped it off. Comes off a 16mm socket. You can do it by hand, but if you have a gun like this, it sure is easy. So take off all the hardware. Now, I had replaced this a bit before I replaced I put in the cup kit. I just put these back with the stock ones. And these, these are about 2 years old. They're in fine shape. Rubber's a little cracky,
well, just like surface. But as far as like, you know, the old ones are just kind of falling apart. So these are good. Yeah, if yours has old ones or the originals, I would at least invest in a new mount. They're pretty cheap and they come with a little gasket. And yeah, if you're gonna go through all the trouble, might as well go and replace that. So, same with the bump stop; they just kind of disintegrate over time as well. And I'll see y'all on assembly.
All right, so here's all your parts. You need that sleeve, bump stop, that little concave washer with the rubber around it. That one, that little concave one, you're gonna have a tiny washer, this top nut, and your top mount. Alrighty, so the first step, take your bump stop with the sleeve to keep that part clean from getting things down in the piston. Let's see, trying to do this filming. Let's see, stand it up, press it down. I'm just gonna press it down all the way to the bottom just for now. Okay, next goes this little washer, if I remember correctly. Goes on the end here, like that, a little shim, and then you take this little unit. You can see where the washer was. This is original, has a little bit of surface rust going on, a little patina. I'll lay this on top. That's just the top half to keep this from going up too far and hitting the mount. And now, see this goes. No, I'm getting this wrong. My apologies. Now you take your mount. It's been a while since I've done this. Get it on there. So, you have that nice mount. You got the shim down there. And at least this is how it was when I took it apart. I might be wrong. I might have to check realoem.com and see the parts diagram just to make sure. And then this unit actually goes on top of everything with the rubber side down, and then the new nut goes on top of there. It's a little lock nut. And what I really like about this H&R one, I'm sure like a Coney or a Bilstein would have the same thing as well. The old ones I took out didn't. I don't know, they're no names. You can put a little Allen key in there to hold while you use a wrench or something to torque the nut. So you get a correct torque without spinning the shaft and over tightening. So, see y'all at that step. All right, and this is my little setup for tightening this thing down. I'm just holding this with a pair of vice grips, just carefully. Honestly, I don't have any metric wrenches. Unfortunately, I really should invest in that. And I'm using my Allen key for the little ratchet, and I'm just turning them the opposite ways, just getting this thing cranked down, and then I'm gonna torque it with my little torque wrench. All right, got this one assembled, and just tip with the Allen wrench, the Allen key socket, make sure you insert it all the way down in here, because if you have it just a little bit, it's just gonna strip at the top. So just be careful. This is what it looks like, and just gonna do the same thing the other side, and I'll see y'all on reassembly. All right, now we'll take our shock assembly and we're gonna bolt it up to the bottom first. And because I honestly think that's the trickiest part, because if you do it up top first, then you gotta move this big old lumbering thing around trying to get that bolted in. So if you get that bolted in, you can kind of manipulate with the jack and get it up in there. So that's what we'll do next, and we'll get it torqued down. Alrighty, both are started. Got it tightened down with just a little hand socket, and you always want to start these bolts by hand, and I'll get y'all the torque spec, and we'll tighten it using the torque wrench. Alright, so next we are going to put the jack back on the little place there. Lift it up a little bit, take out those jack stands, and then just not let it down all the way. Don't do that, but go ahead and have the mounts aimed as close as you can up to where that is,
and just manipulate the jack carefully so you can get those up in there and at least get the bolt started up top, and then you know, put more and more weight on it as you go. This is just a little bit tedious, but it's just part of the job. Yep, just gonna lift it up.
Sorry for shaky film here.
Okay, you get the gist. So pull those two out and keep this in the position where it's at. Now this is where control comes in, so you're just gonna twist the jack to the left, just let it down just a little bit, just be careful. Not gonna film this part because I would really like use of both my hands. All right, so I let it down a little bit. Gotta be real quick with your hands and just going like, you know, going back and forth. And let's check on the path it's going. Okay, yeah. It's just about there. We're gonna let it down a little bit more. And it's pretty forgiving. You can kind of manipulate these a bit. 1 second. Luckily with these jacks, as long as they're in good shape, you can really slowly let down some height. Let me, yeah, so it's getting really close. Just gotta let it down a little bit more. Don't be like me and forget to check the other side. Oh yeah, that's really close. If you can see there. So gonna get that really close. So I'm gonna let it down. Alrighty, well, all the weight's off the car. I mean off the jack here. In the rear, most of the weight's on the spring, so you're just gonna reach in here and put those into the holes up there. I think it's already, yeah, it's already popped up, but on the other side, I just reached up and just pulled the shaft up since it's pushed down a little bit. And then next we'll get those nuts started up top. All right, and both sides are there. So we'll get those nuts put on, and then we'll get the torque spec on them. Alrighty, torque spec for these top 4 nuts, 21 foot-pounds. So set your little torque wrenches up to that and get them torqued. And if you don't have a torque wrench, just get it snug. These don't need to be over tightened or else you'll just break it. Just get it pretty snug like you would. 21 foot-pounds is just a little bit tighter than what you get your oil drain plug, which is like 17 foot-pounds. So y'all set. All right, torque spec, and now put your trunk interior back in, and now that your car has load on it, you can get those bottom ones torqued up. Just crawl back down there and do it. It's not so bad. Luckily, it's positioned to where you can easily access it. And enjoy your new shocks. I hope this helped you out, and if this helped you, feel free to leave a like and comment. And if you have any constructive criticism or whatever, and thanks for watching.